It's my thoughts, commentary, opinions only. I don't think any of y'all would be mean to anybody, but don't go after anybody. Or say anything mean to anybody about anything that I say. I know I can get kind of a little too much, but Allie Beth Stuckey is who I'm talking about. I didn't know what exactly to put in the title. I'm like, I think people will know who I'm talking about when I say Allie Stuckey, but it's usually Allie Beth Stuckey. And she's a Christian woman that I've followed. Like I'm sure, like most of you, I don't watch literally every single one of her shows, but I do watch a lot of them. And I thought this was really interesting. I posted it on my page just now, like 10, 20 minutes ago. The Humanist Report, they're a YouTube channel. They were how I found out about what I'm getting ready to talk about. And I think that yeah, I mean, there's so much that I could branch off into, but if you don't know who Allie is, she is, I don't know if she would consider herself a fundamentalist Christian. She is very Christian. Allie Beth has been writing, I think she was like in the journalism sphere or the blogger sphere at first. I remember seeing her a long, long time ago on Facebook, and she has evolved into a podcaster. And even though she's way more religious than I could ever be, I really do like her. She's probably like the most religious person I watch. And I'm kind of talking about how religious she is. At one point, she even like compares herself to Candace Owens. And it's just interesting to me that she doesn't see it. Like she is just like so much more, I don't know how to put it, of a Christian than a lot of other people, anyone that I follow. And recently she was taken aback because she got kind of attacked online. Let me see. It's a humanist report. I posted the video on my page. Um, thank you, honey. Um, I don't know. I feel like my eyeliner is like too black. But anyways, Allie spoke at a public event about how adult media is harmful. And this was a few months ago, but it's making the rounds on the internet now for some reason. And well, you know how stuff like that goes. That shit happens all the time. I don't know why I said that. Like, that's surprising. But it is catching on to a lot. And she said even people she considered friends and colleagues are like going at her about what she said. And I'm not quoting what she said, but in a nutshell, she said commercializing sex is wrong because it is a gift from God and it can cause. Oh, she didn't even say that. That was one. The only problem I had with it was that she said it causes addiction, like every single time, 100% of the time. It's shame and promotes human trafficking. It weakens men. It is evil in every way and will destroy your life. The way that she was like, it will do this, like, and I understand the point that she was trying to make, but at the same time, I think that that's just going to like fall upon more deaf ears when you go at it like that. Happy Wednesday, Daniel said. Hey, how are you, Daniel? And sorry, I'm just trying so hard to not say the It's like I'm saying it more lately. And she started it off by talking about how it weakened men, and she ended it the same way. And then, the Humanist Report, once again, the YouTube video that covered this, they said that she was conflating child sexual abuse material with adult media, and that was absolutely ridiculous. And of course, making it a completely right, completely left thing, which I do understand. They're saying, like, no man on the left. It's just interesting to me how we've gotten to this point in our country where your political ideology shapes literally how you feel about something like adult media, And I don't think that's so true. Every man on the left is going to disagree with her. But so this is what came to my mind. In 2020, Cornhub. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. Hi, Connor. Hi, Jory. Hi, Anthony. Did an investigation which resulted in all unverified content being removed from their platform. I'm sure some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Approximately 80% of their content was taken down. This was after a piece in the New York Times opinion section, which covered people who had their childhood sexual abuse material uploaded on their content and how horrible it was for them to experience that. So it's undeniable, and I'm not saying all of that content, 80% of the content was all childhood sexual abuse material, but it's fair to guess that a lot of it was. That is so significant. They went from, I'm sorry, where are the numbers? 13 million, approximately 13 million clips to approximately 2.9 million clips. Thank goodness that the New York Times opinion piece section happened to do that because somebody needed to call attention to that clearly. And this was 2020. Like, how long was this stuff going on? Hi, John. How are you doing today? And so that's what I wanted to say to the humanist report guide. Like, why would she even bring up? Because a lot of people don't understand how much, yeah, that does, when you allow the unverified content, that just encourages people to do more and like it's like encouraging it because they didn't care about the safety of people. They didn't care if they were encouraging human trafficking, which it absolutely does do. And it is one reason that like we shouldn't shame people. We should inform them and educate them, and you shouldn't like come at them necessarily. I mean, there's a time and a place. But it also made me think about Giselle Pellicot. If you don't know what this case is, it is so disturbing, guys. I'm sorry. French woman who decided to make her case public. She didn't have to do this. Because of her husband, well, him included, so 50 men total. There was like him and 49 other men were on trial for her. Uh, she was drugged. Her husband gave her things she didn't know and knocked her out and then let other men use her body. And this went on trial in France recently. Dozens of them were convicted. A lot of them refused to admit to guilt, even with the video evidence there on trial for everybody to see. So these I bring this up because this is how wicked our world is getting. Can you like and there was a lot of other men involved and none of these men said anything. It took her husband getting caught doing the upskirt cameras. I'm sorry, this is why I said adult audiences only on this. Or I said adult. It got him getting caught in public and then they went through his phone and that's how he got caught. Now, how many hundreds of men? There were like there's 49 convicted. There's evidence of more than that, I think, but you know what I mean? Like, as far as people they could identify, they took 49 to court. How many hundreds probably of men knew what this man was doing and didn't go to the cops? Like, this is why I talk about misogyny a lot. Like, this is so sick. There's been groups found like 10, 20, 30,000 strong, men talking about how to do this, how to drug your loved one, loved one, your partner, so you can do whatever. I just think that is totally sick. Epstein files, John said. I shot to the T. Hey Tim, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Trump is talking right now, TWC. Oh, I didn't know that. Lovely T was on, and I almost didn't want to go live because I wanted to watch Lovely T. She was talking about like the Candace Owens stuff. I really, really like Lovely T. I think she was like the first person I subscribed to on YouTube in 2015 or 16. So, going back to Allie Beth Stuckey, she was taken aback by how men reacted to her take on adult media. She said lots of conservative men agree with what she said. It still made them emotional. She didn't say this. I'm saying this. It still made them emotional enough to like have to go tell her how she's wrong for saying it because she's a woman and it's not her place. And she even said nobody would say this to Candace Owens. Not that I want them to, like, not that I'm saying they should, but I just don't understand why people talk to me the way that they do. But I do understand because she like they know that she is the kind of woman who's like actually going to get they're bullies basically in my opinion. She did even say, "Yeah, I agree. Men statistically are better at public speaking or in the public sphere." Like, what does that mean? And what statistics are you talking about? And the Humanist Report guy said that too. Like, I can't believe this is the year 2025 and there's a woman like fighting against being called a feminist and like and then like egging it on with some more of the shit that she says. And I think that they know like Candace would bite back a little bit too much. Can you tell me if liberals exist? I was just curious. Well, yes, Harmons, I believe they exist. So then somebody also said, like, why not lecture women about OF, OnlyFans? Like, of course, she does stuff like that all the time. And she pointed that out in a rebuttal she filmed. Like, she absolutely targets most of what she says in the books that she writes towards women on the same path as her. And I just think it's interesting how so many people on the right were calling her a feminist for speaking out about adult media when a lot of feminists are pro sex work. So I don't understand that they're just going to call anybody a feminist that they think is going to take it as an insult. And once again, like I do understand. Thank you, Shaw. Can you tell me? Oh, I already. I do understand. Like Okay, so a lot of feminists are pro sex work, and she said that people she considered friends and colleagues were even going after her. And why my gosh, she is much more. Yeah, I already said all of this. I'm so sorry. I went ahead of my notes. So, one man was going all out and even saying that women should abandon the stage and work only in the home. Like, that's the only place women should ever be. Could you imagine how boring the world would be if there was literally no women in public? Like, I personally don't think that life would be as good. I couldn't imagine having absolutely no woman ever. And people don't realize, like, in 1910, 20% of women were working. In the 50s, it was 37% of women were working. And now it's 57%. People literally act like 80 to 100% of women stayed at home, and then all of a sudden 80% of them went into the workforce. It didn't happen like that. And yeah. Women bear fruit, but that's not all that we do. And the fact that we do go through menopause, one of three mammals on the whole planet that do, and all the other ones that are like the really smart mammals, it's like some kind of whale and elephants. The fact that we go through menopause says we've evolved to live a quarter of our lives not being fertile. Why is that? Because we have so much value besides our fertility, and men do too. But I'm just saying, like, women looking at women for only so when a woman has her kids and she's done and they're all out of her home, she's still supposed to have no goals other than keeping the home, which is fine if that's what she chooses. But you generalize too much. The work you do is women's work. Men need help. No, I don't think that the point is to generalize. People should be able to do whatever they want. So generalizing it to the point where women should only do, and I'm a stay-at-home mom that says it is a lot harder than a lot of people give a lot of stay-at-home parents credit for. I still don't think that it's something that anybody should be resigned to doing their literal whole adult lives. That would get boring. Okay. Hi, Matt. How are you? Do you know how to do the hokey pokey? Oh my goodness. So you think life would be better, Lo, if there was no women in any position, like not when you go out to the store, not no nurses, teachers that are literally 70 to 80% of nurses and teachers. So there'd either be like a shortage of nurses and teachers, or there something would be lacking if there's like already such little interest in men doing it. Oh, thank you for the gift or the high five, Matt. Thank you. Yes, I have three sons. Oh, thank you, Nathan. That's nice. That's why God made you beautiful to men when you're young and fertile. Well, I don't completely disagree with that, Vinny. I mean, I do think it's kind of nature's timing to, you age, and I also think that's why it's nice to like get with somebody young. My husband got to see me before I hit the wall. No, I don't have a uterus, so I can't have any more kids. I had to have a hysterectomy. Oh, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. And it just shows the misogyny of like the comments, the humanist report. I posted the video on my community tab if any of you are interested in this. They did a good job covering it, like the kind of reaction that she was getting. And Allie really took it to heart. She got upset. And I'm sure, like she said, the friends and colleagues that people she wasn't expecting to treat her like that. But it's just so easy to call her a feminist and her getting upset over it. That's why we need to stop it. Is like a woman that leans to the right. I do understand not wanting to be considered in the same boat as like every feminist, like especially the radical feminists walking around. Even though radical feminists are the only ones that do, from what I can tell, really speak out against sex work and trying not to normalize that. And a lot of other things that are being normalized that, like, they get called turfs the most and stuff like that. And it's the other feminists that are like, kind of, um, so I don't even want to say like I completely disagree with them across the board either, but it's like I don't want to be thrown in the boat as these like third or fourth wave feminists that say that women shouldn't birth boys. But I'm also not going to discredit absolutely all feminists because of those most extreme radical ones. That's why marriage is for women, not men. So how do you suppose only women should get married, Vinny? Are you saying men are allowed to go outside the marriage? Lewis, the men at the time wouldn't give you an inch in things because give problems to spaces we operate in. I don't understand what you mean, Lewis. Um, since women have entered the workforce, we've only become more productive, and I know technology has increased too, but more homogenous companies have less productivity. Like companies that are men and women working together are better than when it's just one or the other. Statistically, radical feminists are ugly women that men are not attracted to. Vinny said, I don't agree with that. I can think of one radical feminist I know you would think is hot, unless like tattoos aren't your thing. But even her tattoos are like, I think they're like aesthetically placed well. So women enter the workforce mostly, although we've been in the workforce all along, like we've always had to work together. Whenever women weren't working out in the workforce so much, you had to do laundry that took 2 or 3 days. Like it was so much more difficult to keep a house clean and clothes clean and everything. I'm talking about like the Victorian era. And then like after everything became really industrialized and a lot of the housework is easier because of it and appliances. It's like the more World War II, right? Like we had to help. We did a great job. We did help. And women, like some of those jobs were pretty risky, and I know men do more risky jobs than women overall and always have. But because of us entering the workforce and doing so well, like I just don't see how. I mean, I do see I couldn't ever think that you guys shouldn't be allowed to do something because a few percent of you commit over 90% of violent crimes. I would never think like all men shouldn't, da, da, da. And like all the jobs I've worked, like I worked with men and women who were lazy, and I've worked with men and women who were really good workers. And I would never say like only women this or only men that, but I have said it before, so I will say it again. If I had to choose, honestly, at the factories I worked at, women had better endurance. There was always men that worked their butts off and were really good workers, but overall, a lot of them were the ones that cut corners every chance they got. And I'm talking about safety components for cars. These are very critical parts to get right, like cutting corners constantly, taking extra long breaks, like stuff like that. That like oh, I'm sorry, women didn't do we weren't doing that. Oh, boo boo, you have a good night too. Lewis, I've never needed to work. Yes, I have, Lewis. Oh my gosh. The way that you guys assume a lot of the I would venture to say if somebody just like came to you and started assuming things about you, you would think they were like some kind of emotional woman. Oh my goodness gracious. Layla. I'm sorry. Thank you, Matt. My dog is in front of me and she just farted. It smells so bad. I worked and I was the breadwinner for 18 months. My husband worked 1 day a week while I worked full time, and I'm very thankful because that's how I got my surgery. It worked out perfectly. It's like I got this job. It's just, I'm telling you, if I didn't get that surgery when I did, I probably would have ended up getting cancer. Matt does construction. I don't know what you mean by that, but hi. Oh, are you going to, Matt? Are you saying bye to somebody, Matt? Ohio here. Oh, hi, Robert in Ohio. How are you doing? No, I am not trans. Men usually exert more energy everywhere else. Women work one shift and act as if they are single-handedly saving the economy. Men have to work, then deal with the family, the kids, the bills. All right. Are you talking about men or women, Kev? I'm sorry, I can't take everybody knows women do more domestic labor at home, okay? And I'm sure there's exceptions, but if you're going to talk about that, like in general, women do more domestic labor. That's undeniable. Even if they do both work 40 hours a week, it's the woman that tends to do most of the domestic labor. And you can look that up. That's like very easy to verify. And if men do help out, they get laid more. It's like, I don't understand why more men haven't figured out this. Like, it's not that hard. You say it's not that hard. If you didn't have a wife, you would be having to do it yourself. Or I know some people are just nasty, but or you would have to pay somebody to come do your dishes, do your laundry, right? Like somebody has to do it. And so if you're like discrediting it, like it's not that hard, then like why can't you step in and help? But I don't know what world you live in, Kev, but I've never heard anybody say that men do more work at home. Like, I've never even heard somebody try to claim that. And you all know that I'm right, okay? I'm sorry. I want everybody to feel free to say whatever they want. You can say something different than my opinion. Everybody's welcome. Not saying you're wrong or trying to argue with you, but I understand your angle as well. Okay, Kev, I'm sorry. I don't mean to, like, make you feel like you can't say whatever's on your mind, but like, this is a common issue that I feel like if it could be resolved in more situations, there would be so much more happier marriages. And like, it's been brought up online a lot. Like, you would get divorced just over chores. Like, Pearl Davis is like, well, if you have been asking a man to help you on a daily basis with something, those little things do add up. I understand it might sound contrite on the surface, but like, it wears on you. And I've had to express it to my family before. It feels disrespectful when you ask people to do something or to do something a certain way or whatever. I'm talking about like very basic shit. And then like they still refuse it. It was like we've all been through that stuff, like teaching our kids to rinse off their plates. And then sometimes you have to be like, oh, look, you didn't rinse off your plate. And like for a lot of women, it's like, I don't, it's like having another child, having to like train their husband how to keep a clean home, how to do things. And like they would rather not have to do that too. And it's so much nicer. And I say it as a woman that has a husband like this. It is so much nicer to have a husband that sees something that needs to be done and just does it. My husband does do that. He has, when I had our newborn, our last kid, he would work full shift at a warehouse doing forklift work and then come home and make dinner when I was too exhausted with the newborn baby. There are good men out there that do really help their wives out at home. And oh, hey, Fendi, how are you? So I don't mean to make it sound like all men don't either. And it's women that get called, like super mom, and like they're doing so much when they're a working mom for a reason, because they usually are the ones that are also doing all the doctor's appointments. You guys, have you seen the street interviews where they stop families and they ask dads questions like, what's your kid's pediatrician? Most of the dads don't have anything to say. And I know these could be cherry picked, curated type things, but like, come on, we all know it's like true in our life. Once again, this isn't true with my husband, so I know it's not true with every dad, but there's dads that didn't know their kids' birthdays. Have you seen that clip where the guy didn't know his child? They're like, "What's her birthday?" And he's like, "I don't know." They're like, "It was last week." um, and that's because usually the woman is doing so much of that, and it does go it is taken for granted sometimes. It's just important to know, like, if you have a wife that literally does, and I know people are going to be like, oh, first world problems or whatever. If you have a wife that literally does all of like the birthday party planning, the birthday gift buying, all the coordination for all the extracurricular activities, like, and like does a good job at keeping your kids stimulated and happy, like that is such a job, and it is a blessing to even be able to do that, like, financially. So I'm not trying to sound like a victim at all. Yes, women trip over little things. Cleaning dishes is nothing. The guy goes up and earns money. That's a huge disparity. Well, Crow, I mean, you shouldn't be disrespectful. And like my husband, when he's a breadwinner, I do I kind of like lean to him. Not everybody is going to be the same. I trust him. So like I let him make the decisions. I'm like, whatever we do with our money is usually like he's going to decide because he's making all the money. And of course, like you should always be nice. And I say most arguments are, it's a tone of voice more than anything. But I think there's something to men having this tick in their head where their woman saying anything is like, I'm going to defy that. They are not my mommy, and I am going to teach her that she can't tell me what to do, even if it's like something that's helpful and beneficial and like only better, more in a sanitary way. And this is something that like women don't want to be put in that position either, where they're being the mommy. They really don't. I know some women, okay, most women, they don't want to have to tell you something 10 times before you start doing it or take them seriously either. And I think that's a big problem when it comes to looking down on women and equating women to like just being like in between children and men somehow. We're more advanced from in utero. We're like more emotionally intelligent all throughout childhood, teenagehood, young adulthood. Like this is once again generalizing, right? There's going to be people this isn't true about, but in general, girls are more advanced than boys. Literally from before we come out of the womb, But where do we start falling behind and we're like so much more or less advanced than you? Or is it like women tend to have to pick up the slack and like teach a lot of things to the men in their lives because there's been a lot of entitlement? Um, Worked till retirement, never complained, just did the job, came home and handled business. Oh, okay. Are you talking about yourself? I'm glad you're retired if you're talking about yourself. Yeah, but the woman can't do the man's job at work, so that's not fair. It's not a fair comparison. Those are the rules you both choose. But not all jobs, Crow. I understand some jobs women can't do, but like not all jobs. You know what I mean? Like, I worked on an assembly line and we switched jobs every 2 hours, which is ideal. I could never work in a factory where I was doing the same thing for 8 to 10 hours a shift. That would be torture. And I don't understand why it's not like mandated to always, I understand some people might not like it too. But, anyways, we changed the jobs. There was literally one job that I, like, barely ever did because I didn't have, like, the wingspan quite. It was more of, like, a man thing, but all women had done it and were trained to do it. But, and yeah, that wasn't even so much of a brute strength thing. It was just, yeah, it was like the $2 million machine. I'm doing good, Tim Wood, if you're still in here, how are you? And thank you so much, Mr. Carey. Men build skyscrapers, build and maintain sewer systems, pave roads, get drafted into work, give up their spot in the life of the boat, and build and operate deep water oil rigs, roofing, garbage collector, etc. Okay, Rob, and with all due respect, more women risk their lives giving birth than men that build skyscrapers, build and maintain sewer systems, pave roads, get drafted into war, especially get drafted into war. None of you guys have been drafted for 50 years. And like, I'm sorry, but if it was turned around, I swear, anytime a woman brought up getting drafted, you all would call it out for that. Sorry, you don't have to worry about getting drafted, okay? And I'll eat my words, I'll eat crow if you ever do. And like you get paid and compensated very well and respected. I understand not everybody respects blue collar work, but like I would say, like plumbers have saved as many lives as doctors. And a lot of people don't understand how important plumbers are and like our infrastructure and how much we all rely on it and how much our health depends on like the work of these men that like some people look down on because they handle waste or whatever. So like I'm all about giving credit where credit's due. I just wish that the same people that said those things would also be like, this we're not meant to all be able to build skyscrapers, just like you will never be able to push a baby out your pee hole. Like we're meant to go through what we go through, and then our bodies, even if we don't have kids, we have to deal with all those bodily functions that make it so we can have kids, most of us, most of our adult lives. And that is something too. You don't have to bleed every single month. I started bleeding when I was 10 years old, and I had bad periods too, really bad periods with big blood clots. Nobody would believe me, even when I was younger. Like, nobody believed me. And I'm sorry if that's TMI for anybody, but we need to normalize the conversations of what women go through because it's like just glossed over. It's almost looked at as taboo in some ways because I understand it's not really entertainment, but if we're going to talk about what men go through, what women have to endure to bring the next generation to here to earth is it's something. So if he makes all the money, you can't do the housework even though he pays you for everything. Oh no, Thompson, I do all the housework. So now, okay, so let me explain it better. When we were both working, it was more like I do the vast majority of the housework. I really do. And like when he has one day off, I tell him not to do the laundry and not to do stuff. But he's one of those people he always has to be doing something, doing something. So he does do stuff on his day off. But he couldn't he's working crazy hours. What he does during this season is crazy. So if you guys have extra crazy work because of I mean, my channel might not be the best thing for you to decompress to, but I really do feel for you guys. And like, thank you to everybody who's working in this crap. And men don't want to be nagged after a physically demanding shift and put 50 hours a week and barely home. Yeah, Thompson. I've said it before. I'm not just saying this, but I know I let my husband decompress. I am a talker, but when he comes home from work, I try not to. I mean, I don't try not to. I don't like. No, 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 no. I think the men who act like little boys react like that. It's a two-way street. They should both talk nice to each other, but a guy who's sensitive like that needs to fix himself. Yes, Crow. I think a big issue is men don't draw boundaries when they should. And that's because they've been socialized to like just eat shit when it comes to their relationships often. Like or so like it's funny when a woman is a bitch and like if they were more like women and like, hey, I didn't like that, that would be beneficial. You know what I mean? Like everybody's being respectful. Don't forget, no one asks how our mental state is, Kev said. Yeah, and that is a problem that's also perpetuated by men. With all due respect, I do think that's a problem, and I'm sorry about that. And I have said a lot before. I'm sorry. I just don't want people to think I'm just like catering to. There's something I've learned so much from TikTok. Like, I used to think men were exaggerating when they said when they opened up to women, they use their vulnerabilities against them. And then I saw so many women talking about how it gave them the ick when they saw their man cry and stuff like that. And like, so stuff like that I've learned because of the internet and TikTok. It's really nice. It doesn't matter what the year is, the same thing will happen in relationship because people are human. People knew their nature and paid into their strengths. Um, I'm sorry, Coach Casey. When you say that's ridiculous, if you're still in here, I don't really know what you're talking about. Men and women complement each other. Yes, exactly. Oh, thank you for saying I'm brutally honest, John. You got sick and lost your voice, blue-eyed. Oh, I hope you get better soon if you're not better now. Well, I home educate Sam if you're still in here, my 8-year-old. And, YouTube, I do get paid a little for this. Women know the risk of giving birth. It's not the 1950s and medicine is a lot more advanced. You're still risking your life every time you give birth. Do you have any idea how bad our infant and maternal mortality rates are here, Kev? Kev, I'm sorry. Or actually it is like Kevin. We have like the worst of, I'm pretty sure it's the worst, one of the worst of all first world countries. We spend the most on healthcare, and our infant and maternal mortality rates is like the worst comparatively. And Dr. LaGrue in California implemented obstetric crash carts. And when he did, he greatly improved the outcomes. If they simply just had like, it's just a crash cart with things that aren't available in every labor and delivery room. They simply don't care enough, and in my opinion, it's because of the misogyny, and young children, especially infants, are like an extension of women, and because we all look down on women so much and think that all they're capable of is being the Susie homemaker, and like we're just like so irrational and illogical that like that's how deep it goes, absolutely. And the number one cause of unaliving in a pregnant woman in our country isn't medical. The number one reason a pregnant woman dies in our country is homicide. And I'm sure some of you hearing this, I'm sorry, I hope I'm wrong. I sincerely hope I'm wrong. I'm sure when I say that, there's somebody that's like, well, what did they do? It's because they're such a bitch. It's because I bet they mouthed off too much to him. I'm sure there's people that actually think things like that. And once again, that's the reason why it's not like a national crisis that the number one way a pregnant woman dies here is homicide. Like that's insane to me. And that just says it all about the state of men and women. Oh God, Sammy, let him talk to her. Who gives a damn? She's not your problem no more. That's how we end generational curses and undo trauma past from past generations. Yes, Kev. I don't know exactly what you said that to, but I like that you said that. Hey, Rebecca, busy, so can't pay attention, but just stopping to make a comment for audience engagement. They say so many have no internal monologues, so people should focus on being able to autonomously generate. Oh, that's interesting. Hey, Rebecca, if you're still listening, I hope you're doing well. Um, Joshua, I would love to see how your teeth look. And I do have like ever since I put this yellow ring light, I feel like they look even worse. I had fake veneers, my veneers popped off. I just think you have to be like a 12-year-old to be going on somebody's random YouTube live and like make fun of their teeth. I really couldn't care less what Joshua Ledford thinks about my fucking teeth. I couldn't. A man dentist to fix. It was a man dentist that fucked them up. It was a man dentist that did the root canal shit that ended up in a sinus hole created, a hole in my sinus. And it was all men that were the worst dentists ever. Honestly, I had one good male dentist. There was one good one that was a man. The best practitioners I've had were women, and I'm not saying there aren't any good men, but I think nurse practitioners have been. No, I'm married. Nurse practitioners are tend to be female, and that's them calling that not a professional degree, making it even harder for people to go for the financial aid in order to be one is like another thing. It's just so. I never thought I'd be saying this. It is an attack on women. Like I never thought I'd be saying this. It's obvious. I was married once and she didn't know how to appreciate a working man. I'm jaded now, to be honest. I'm so sorry, Crow. I understand that that happens a lot. Like I said, it's like the way we're socialized to be like the damsels in distress. At the same time, it's like more okay to be emotionally neglectful and abusive, and it's not right. Women, my biggest advice is like everybody needs to be the partner that they want. And it shouldn't be gender. There should be no like men should do this and women should do this. All the best advice, it goes both ways for marriage and whatever the genders are. It's like happy spouse, happy house. Josh Lee Ford, you got to be a child because an adult wouldn't even care about her teeth being yellow. So dumb. No, I'm not high. Oh, thank you for saying I'm beautiful. Oh, yeah, the women's basketball four-time national champions, Kevin said. That's cool. Hey, Militant Prepping, how are you? Oh, you're telling me to shut up. Way more feminist lately. I'm the same person I've always been. I'm sorry it's not really to your liking, but uh, what do you not? So is it feminist to be against adult media that gives teenage boys erectile dysfunction? And makes it so like I really do feel like it's one of the it's if you're gonna say, and I'm not saying militant prepping said this, but I like social media is part of why women are the way that they are and kind of being stunted in a certain way. I do agree there's something going on, especially since 1999. There's a lot of evidence for it. It like a lot of evidence for it. The marriage rate has gone down, 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 and usually goes up and down, up and down. And now it's just on this downward trajectory for the first time in like a quarter of a century straight ever. And I think it's because of the internet, all the things that came with it. You know, the number one way of cheating is like the internet, or the two, it's like the gym, work, Facebook, something like that. The number one way you meet any romantic interest is on the internet. And we give somebody this unnatural, it's just not natural. Never before have people been able to view it the way that they do. And a lot does come with it that is horrible. Um, No, was telling you I know, I said, "Are you telling me to shut up?" "Hey, vampire cult queen. How are you?" "Yeah, the internet just exposed a lot of what was going on," Fendi said. "Yeah. Um, never before have you done a backflip on stream. This needs to be remedied." No, I've never done a backflip in my life. Okay, sweetheart. I wanna make sure that I haven't said oh, I did say everything on my note. So she Allie Beth, I wanna finish this really quick. Allie Beth, sorry, guys. She said statistically men are better. Okay, she compared men being crass and downright brutal because that's what she was saying. She was getting hurt feelings like they were just being so mean. And like, yeah, I get it. But she compared them to homosexuals. That's the last thing in my notes, which, like the Humanist Report guy said, how can you expect to reach any men that are already saying they don't want to hear from you by saying, like, comparing them like that? And it just says a lot about religiosity, and like I'm not religious. I still like to follow her. I thought she was a good example of a Christian, and it's interesting to see it all play out in front of you. A woman, okay, militant prepping. I'm sorry. uh to see her get so upset over being called a feminist. I used to say the same shit, like, "I'm not a feminist," but then, like, the more I thought about it, it's like, that is pretty asinine for any woman to like, it's okay if you don't want to call yourself a feminist, like, but if you're going to, like, get so discouraged, like, I think we need to start ignoring people that think that that is an insult. Because this is, never before have you done a back oh, I already read that. Why does Joshua profile picture look like he's taking a dump? Vampire cult queen. That's so funny. Okay. Um, if you're talking about my profile picture, it's a man sitting on a moon smoking a blunt. Oh, yeah, that is kind of cool. But anyways, yeah, I just think that it's also another sign of the times. It's adult media is so harmful. And I think people have speculated before when they know when to push it on a population. There's certain populations they don't allow it in. And they know when they do push it on a population, it weakens the men in the populace. And it's interesting how reactive, how emotional and reactive every time this gets brought up, anytime for years now, I've seen it take place online. Men get there, it's literal addicts getting mad about you talking about like their addiction, and it's proof of why it is so harmful. If it really wasn't, if they weren't talking about you when it got brought up, then you would just like, and it's interesting to me. Okay. Is there anything you don't put with a blunt, Joshua? Are you an addict? Well, weaken as in, I would say in this case, to inhibit somebody from reaching their optimum strength. Somebody who would naturally be on a path of better development to stunt them in their growth somehow. And like I said, it causes ED, and this has never taken place in teenage boys before now. And experts say like it is you know, reacting to certain stimuli over and over, it can literally build new neural pathways in your brain. And it will make it impossible in some situations to be with a normal woman. And like that's what I was saying with Allie saying it like 100% total, like that wasn't the correct way to go about it, in my opinion. But I would say that like it is something we need to talk about. We need to like be open with people. And well, thank you. I don't know what you're talking about exactly, Fendi, if you're talking to me, the J People's Land. So the corn hub stuff I brought up earlier, that really was like so significant in 2020 because of a New York Times opinion piece that was about people who had their childhood sexual abuse material uploaded to Cornhub against their will, obviously, how it had affected them. And because of that New York Times piece, Cornhub decided to take down 80% of the content on its platform. That is so significant. Really sit with it and think about that. If 80% of YouTube videos had to be taken down because of some that is so significant, from 13 million to 2.9. Those are like approximate numbers, videos that were on the platform. So how much of that was a childhood abuse? I mean, some of it was, but we'll never know for certain exactly how much. And it's a kind of thing that's like, once again, I brought up the Giselle Pellicoat trial because it is, I think it makes people more immoral. I think when you are in those kinds of spaces, you come across something maybe you wish you didn't see, like a forum where a man's talking about rugging his wife and letting other people do whatever they want with her body, and you're not going to report that to authorities because like you're already shameful about like what you've been doing, and like there's been serial killers that said like this is what led me down the wrong path, and then it was like, and no, obviously it's not like this with every single man that views it. um oh goodness, it's I know my video about Candace, like a lot of people don't agree with me, but I was trying to watch her before I came on here tonight too. I just can't listen to fluff, and I know some people would think I'm fluff. I don't mind to be timed out. Vampire cult queen. So did I give you a good enough definition, Jeffrey? Rick says I'm celibate. Well, that's a good choice, Rick. It's so scary. I saw this clip where this girl, I don't know who it was. Was it Alex? It wasn't Alex Earl. Somebody like her, where she was like talking about how she doesn't like it when men want to use condoms. I'm like, what am I watching? And she's like, yeah, I don't like it when they say that. I'm like, why do you want to use one with me? And she admitted she was a hoe. I'm with you. I guess I became weak character more so on lack of personal accountability for decisions and high expectations and something external to people. Well, Jeffrey, just the fact that you're that self-aware is great. A lot of people wouldn't even get to that point where they could say that. And I know, like, most people, they don't want to have something have so much power over them, and if you start so young, you might not even be aware of the power it has over you, and that is really sad, and it's awful how accessible it is, even if you put, like, all the parental controls on, like, whatever, Kindle, iPad, whatever, your kid, good chance is they're gonna be able to bypass all that crap. They don't make any of it safe enough. Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. That's really nice. And I don't mean at all to like make people feel like they should be bad or be ashamed, but I think it's important. Like this is the kind of stuff that might help somebody. And I do think that I've heard men say it like they don't like coming across certain videos where they like question the woman's age or if she was in pain or whatever. And it's just so normalized that I feel like if we could be more honest with how sick and depraved it was. And there was a CEO, I forget, I don't know what he said that one of his like goals was to change people's sexuality. Like this stuff really does run deep. And I know it's probably not appropriate for YouTube, but like there's genres aimed at that. And you might think like, "Oh, that's not a possibility," or whatever, but keep in mind, like, people with really especially young, underdeveloped frontal lobes, like everybody likes to say, "Hey, Acid Burn, how are you?" "Oh, Acid Burn sent a membership to Boo YouTube." Thank you, Acid Burn. "How are you feeling?" I don't know if you know who Allie Beth Stuckey is, Acid Burn, but that's who I was talking about in this live. I'm done talking about her, but she's a cool chick, and he's like said one of the things something that stuck with me is she said her dad would tell all the guys that she went on a date with, "You're to treat her like she's somebody's future wife because she is, and like you should treat the guy you go on a date with like he's somebody's future husband." And I just think stuff like that is so beautiful and sweet to me when people do. It's like it's just like so many of us were not raised like that, and just the only advice I ever got for relationships, I'm not kidding, was love isn't like a Disney movie. That's like literally the only thing my mom or dad ever said to me. Oh, and like my dad told me not to sleep around, until I turned 18, and that's a whole other story. But oh, Laura Lockman, no, I don't think I have no, I don't have the body for that. And so I did a live not too long ago talking, and this kind of ties into all of this. Like we should all be more open, and this isn't to shame anybody. This is to have the best intimate life possible. And I know for some people, like realistically, that's why I don't think it should be like banned 100. Like I mean, in a nice, ideal, ethical utopia, maybe, but like there always will be people who I don't wanna say might benefit from the access to it. I think it should be adults only, and, like, I'm not saying that it should be completely banned across the board, but we could definitely try harder to make it less accessible to less people, and if we were honest about how, like, it is a sacred thing and it's not to shame, it's, like, so we can have less STDs spreading around and everything, and, like, be more open with your kids, like, not to shame them. There's a delicate way to do it, like you don't want to create all these ties with so many people. We were taught growing up in the 90s, just wear protection. Like as long as you wear protection and practice safe sex, you'll be fine. And that's not true. It's not always true. And you'd be better off, especially like I have all sons, I still don't want them to get anybody pregnant. And just because you have sun, some people might you're 90% better, good acid burn. Some people might think that you don't have to worry as much. I definitely worry about that. Oh, thank you, Lindy. That's so sweet. It would help to put it on subscriber mode for like 5 minutes, but I have no way to do it on Android. Well, I'm getting ready to get off of here anyway, so it's gonna go after my husband eats his supper. Um, oh, I'm sorry. Uh But then people just have to subscribe, right? Or do they have to be subscribed for like a day? Calvin said, forgiveness for the sin of abortion can be found in Jesus Christ alone. Yeah, forgiveness for anything. Thank you, Pyramid. Hey, how are you? And yeah, I think that, that's never an easy choice. I know some women might make it seem like it's easy for them, but I still don't think Mr. Carey, I'm surprised Nathan's bitch ass isn't in here. He left a comment on one of my videos that I replied back to him. I was hoping he would like reply back to my comment. Hey, cool Caleb, how are you? So yeah, and I have 5 kids. I raised them to be faithful. That's nice, Lindy. Um, no, whatever time you put it from 1 minute to 20 minutes. I don't even know how to do it. Girls changed my life from being a great investor to a girl addicted addict. I don't know exactly what you mean to a great investor to a girl addicted. Oh, addict, not attic. Attic, like flowers in the attic. That movie is no one is faithful. Well, yeah, I'm faithful, and I think my husband's faithful, Eric. See, I know a lot of people aren't, but I think there's people that are definitely like wired for it, you know? And it is a shame when people are just can't help themselves and they get married. I wish there was some kind of like test, some kind of brain scan or something you could see if somebody's monogamous or capable of it. I don't, I mean, I know in theory, yes, like anybody's capable of it. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Now I remember it again. But I think there's some people like I mean it with all my heart. Like I couldn't physically. There's nobody I couldn't. I just couldn't. I'm glad you're doing good, cool Caleb. I'm doing good. This kind of ties into the subject matter that I said on another live where it is legalized. And now we're talking about sex work in brothels in Belgium. There is a rule. This is like a law put into place that the sex workers can only say no up to 10 times every 6 months. Now, how is that true consent? If she, in the back of her mind, is always thinking, at which time, how many times have I said no in X amount of months? And like that, and then the way that they deal with that is somebody from the government steps in. That's all it says. It's like somebody will step in. It's well, what do they do? There was in an article that I posted on the video that I made about this, and it's insane. Like, really think about it. So where it's legal and they're supposed to be the most safe and most protected, they're only allowed to say no up to 10 times every 6 months. You as a paying customer, if you were in those shoes, hypothetically speaking, would you be okay with that, knowing that like you think she's really consenting to you, whatever you're asking her, however you're asking her to do it, but she's really not because she's already said no 9 times the last 5 months and she's just trying to make it through till that 6 month mark. This is what that stuff lends to. There's never a real fair exchange, in my opinion, for somebody's body because it is something that is so sacred and it should not be monetized. And I understand we live in this like sick world, like it is what it is. And it is going to be, but we should not normalize it and then normalize girls. I swear there was like a push. There was some agenda for it. We were like a lot of publications were talking about like all the money, some and they're talking about like the top 1 to 5% of people on OnlyFans, making it seem like it's so easy when it's not, especially because there's so much competition, especially because there's I shouldn't say no, there's less shame involved, and girls think it's okay to just go do it and make a bag and you're 18 years old. When I was 18 years old, it would like people would not have came out with the fact that they were selling nude pictures about that. It's just crazy how much it's changed in the last 20 years. I'm sorry, the chat got stuck. Why buy the cow when you get free milk? Yeah, acid burn. Well, some people really want marriage, but Fendi said that's why I say cheat first just in case. Um, we're all National Geographic animals at the core, Jeffrey. But we are different. We are. We're the only animals to have civilizations and religion. Thank you, big buck. Mm, I'm going to stream some game and like, cool, vampire, have fun. They don't have to have SCX as brothel worker if they don't want to. If that in place and they don't want to quit, simple. Yes, X. Somebody always says that they can just quit. Most women that are sex workers are destitute. Most women don't do that unless they are just desperate for money. No woman does that isn't in desperate need of money. Okay. Like any woman that makes a lot of money, she never goes back to doing that unless she runs out of money. And it's just the fact is there are women in that situation, and these are the laws for it. I think people should be aware. I have never been on there, never want to because it's not my thing. Good for you, cool Caleb. So I don't know exactly what site you're talking about, but like the Cornhub thing in 2020, they took down 80% of their content. That is so crazy. 80% because of a New York Times article, which was about people who had content, child sexual abuse material content released on there, and like they were victims of this, and it brought to light. So they deleted all unverified content. So they should have made it like you had to verify yourself sooner, in my opinion. Like they could at least do that with something that's so serious. It just seems like a no-brainer, you know? And I have a lot of empathy for all the sex workers. I guess that's like what I care about that. 10 times every 6 months. I have a problem. I'm going to have to start reading this before I post it. It said he instead of she. I'm in South Central Kentucky. Oh, Pyramid, thanks for sending the flower. Eastern and Central Kentucky areas, Mr. Carey. The hub has good stuff. What do you mean? But yeah, so it's always interesting to me when people attack a female and tell her that like her place is in the home. Once again, I didn't think I would be 38 years old and living in a world where so many men didn't think women should be able to vote, thought that we should literally just be homemakers, even though most of us haven't been homemakers literally ever. When it was like 20% of women working, do you think the other 80% were homemakers necessarily? Like it's just there's always been women and we do dominate certain fields and that just never gets brought up. What would happen if no women were working in nursing and education? Where would all the kids go? Let's be real. A lot of schools, my kids, two of my kids go to public schools, so I'm no better than anybody. There are a lot of public schools are just like babysitters for us so we can work. Let's be real. Who's gonna babysit your kids for you? Who's gonna give your kids an education, hopefully, while they babysit them for you? Do you see my comments that I make on an after show, lady? I comment on most of your shows after Mother was blocked on YouTube for talking about Hamas. Hamas. Or it's more Hamas. Oh, I'm 38. Oh, my mom didn't teach me right. Uh, there's something else you can dominate mangoes. I'm with you. Can you check out the song Foggy Windows by Vana? Sure, Winston. Anytime any screen on accident, I'll write it down. I tried to take a screenshot and I spilled coffee on my phone and the button's sticking. Let me see. Foggy Windows. Yeah, and book recommendations. I've put off reading for a few weeks, but I really appreciate you guys. Anything that I talk about. No, I do not. Lucky 38, Fendi said. Uh, you did the can opener, Mr. Carey, as a brand. That's why schools was made so they could babysit while the parents do other stuff. And then they could teach the kids how to be little factory workers too and sit in the same place for 8 hours straight. And I'm not like, my kid like school. My older kids that go to school, they like it. So I'm not trying to, complete. And I think teachers have such a difficult job, especially now. So I really don't want to say anything negative about teachers. I think it would be insanely hard to be a teacher right now. I think most people couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a teacher. I think the vast majority of men couldn't be teachers. The vast majority of men couldn't be nurses. But like that never gets brought up. We're never like, you couldn't be a caretaker. Cause like for some reason, the oil rig, the making money, that is like the most important thing on the planet. But let's be real, if there was no nurses, the hospitals would collapse. If there was no nurses, we would all be screwed. Nurses do most of the work, let's be real. We all know it's true, except for surgeons. Doctors really don't do that much. They don't, in most cases. And it's interesting to me, nobody brings up how men aren't in certain fields because they're not the most physically hard fields, but there's things that aren't like don't need physical brute force that are like just as important. And if you don't think taking care of children, birthing children, being there while the children are being birthed, raising them, educating them, if you don't think that's important, you might be part of the problem. I just don't see how you can overlook how important that is. The most foundational years of a person's life, you're shaping so much about them when they're little sponges. And that is very important to be that kind of influence on them. And once again, I know there's plenty of good dads. There's plenty of good teachers that are men. So there are men that can do these things. There's good nurses that are men. One of the best nurses I ever had was a man, actually, who took me aside and said, "There is something going on. You need to keep trying to figure this out," which I appreciated him for that when everybody else was trying to make me feel like I was crazy. After I got the FLU ASHOT in 2010, I was in the ER that night, and he was like talking about my blood pressure, and then they gave me this muscle relaxer shot, and he's like, the how high your blood pressure was and how low it went after that shot proves you were in real pain and you need to figure this out. And I was just like, well, thanks for that, but like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to figure out my shit? Oh no, now Rocco's in here. I'm doing well, Yasu. How are you? How are you, the truth? Oh, hey, Jonathan. I'm sorry. Hi, Yasu. Warm water, I clean the coffee off with it when you have the phone turned upside down. Yeah, I did try to clean it out, but I was afraid the more I tried to clean it, I was gonna get more moisture in there. But I'm gonna get a new phone. This phone is, gosh, it's like over 3 years old. No, baby. No, no. No, no, I'm sorry. If that seems mean, he literally forces himself on me and I can't get him off of me. If he like puts his paw on my lap, I can't get that dog off of me. Anybody that doesn't know my dog would probably think that's really mean. I literally can't pet him unless he's sitting down because he's liable to. Um, what's your opinion about black people? Do they exist? Herbie, of course, I think we're all humans, and I've spoken out about racism a lot on my channel. I think black people are great. I think they're spectacular. I think they're the best people on the planet where we all come from. And that's why they're all so disparaged so much. I say disparaged too much on my channel. I'm like, I need to look up synonyms for disparage. X. It's like I said, it's like I'd say I couldn't do a computer job sitting at a desk all day, boring, slow days, but I know for sure I could do it. Right, X. But could you do it well? Could you really do it day after day? Could you do it to make up for the 70%, 80% of women that do it? Please, no, big, big, no, no. I'm gonna clap in your face again if you don't get out of my face. He's like right there. I'm surprised. But no, no, I'm not doing it. You don't have makeup unless you have men creating the makeup for you. You're stupid. Carlos, do you really think all makeup is created just by men? I couldn't imagine thinking these things. There's definitely makeup companies that are like developed by women, and then I'm sure probably at least half women in the manufacturing of them, the manufacturing of the plastic or whatever it goes in. I've worked in factories and warehouses, and it's apparent to me that a lot of you haven't worked hard jobs like I have. Because you seem to think women literally only do office jobs or something, and that's not true. Women don't do the hardest jobs as much as men do because they have the brute force. Why is it so lost upon you that, like, okay, so if we're the weaker ones, women are weaker physically. I succeed to you. You're right. Women are weaker physically. Where do we go from here? Can we move past this? A woman has admitted we are weaker physically most of the time. Your testosterone makes your muscles so much more dense. Even if you see a man you don't think he has big muscles, chances are he's going to be stronger than you as a woman because of the muscle density. Like, where do we go from here? Can we evolve past men are stronger? It's like caveman shit. You're stronger than us. So what? We can literally go through bone breaking pain to birth babies out of our vaginas. And a lot of times we tear when we do it. Can you imagine what it feels like to tear your genitals open? And I'm sorry if that's too graphic for anybody, like Nathan, this guy that always likes to, like, try to half-ass debate me. He doesn't do a good job at it, but he can't stop coming back for more. He's like, "That's a nasty way to describe something that's completely normal." No, it's completely normal to tear, and that needs to be talked about more, like, what women go through in order to give birth because it's just glossed over. And y'all talk about the draft, like, nobody's been drafted for 50 fucking years. I'm sorry. I don't wanna be disrespectful to people in the military either, I really don't. I do think it's man's place to protect all of us, and that is something you should respect people for and thank them for. When are women going to get respected and thanked for? And that's why more of us don't want to stay at home, don't want to commit our lives to having your babies, because it is the most disrespected, most thankless job I've ever had. Everybody treated me better. I'm not talking about my husband. I'm not talking about my husband. I'm not talking about my sister. Everybody else treated me better. I remember my stepdad calling me when I was working at the factory I was just working at for 18 months, like a month or 2 in, and he's like, "Hey, working girl, how does it feel to be a working girl?" Like, "Oh yeah, home educating children is no work." I get it. You're not on anybody else's schedule, but like just the way that people treat like staying at home, everybody, it is so easy. They don't understand. My days start at like 7, really, they start at, like, 6, sometimes earlier, but, like, I am doing things, cooking breakfast for, getting my youngest son ready, driving my kid to school that's almost half an hour away, like, because I am a stay-at-home mom, and I was like, "You know what, I will do that for you instead of putting you on the bus so you can have a little bit extra sleep because my whole day is for you guys," you know? And, like, if I can show my 16-year-old, like, some if I can do anything for him to make his life easier, I'm gonna do that for him. How many of you would have loved to have a parent in the home that was there to serve you and your family, you know? Because obviously you didn't have it if you're completely dismissive of that it is real genuine work. It starts early in the morning. It often goes past everybody else's bedtime. And this is why, yes, it is a privilege. It is a luxury, even at times. I will give you that. That doesn't mean it's not also work. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's this thing that like if people could actually respect women more when they are good stay-at-home moms. I know some people are lazy. I get that. Um, X. Yes, I could very well verse NPC from Young. Fendi. No, she doesn't. She lying. About what? Cube. As long as I have a face, you'll always have a place to sit. I should have read ahead. I my husband is the only face I'm acid. Your dog wants something else more than just to be pet, maybe water, food, maybe he's got to go OUT, maybe his stomach is upset. No, acid burn. He's the biggest baby in the whole world, and I can't touch him unless he's laying down. And I know his nails are like ridiculous. We need to get nails trimmed. He's a good boy. Oh my god, it was so funny. He was standing in a doorway and he was like wagging his tail and his tail was hitting both sides of the door and it was like boom, 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 boom. Stay, stay. Have to hold my hand up like this and say, "Stay," and stop making eye contact. My mentor at a cattle ranch is a badass tiny woman. Cool, Mike. Yeah, I know some badass tiny women. I'm way stronger, but she is more valuable at this ranch. Oh, Mikey, that's nice. So, like, could you imagine her not working at the ranch because all women are supposed to be in the kitchen all the time? Like, I just couldn't imagine all the valuable people that we would all lose out on. Saying all black people are great is racist, ma'am Herbie. Well, I do think racism is looking at somebody and assuming something about them by the color of their skin. And I've even thought, even if you're like, oh, you must be able to play basketball really good because you're a tall black guy. Like, I do understand that. But I don't necessarily assume it about all black people. I just think so many of them are so great. And there's a reason why mangoes. I think women are slower though, too. Some women are the Steel Crusader. We also tend to have like better endurance, just generalizing. Once again, there's always outliers. Women are also more emotional. Well, the Steel Crusader, I think that men are emotional too. We've just tried to socialize that they're not, but they are. Men commit over 90% of violent crimes. Is that not emotional? Do you not have to be extremely angry most of the time to commit a violent crime? Why is that not considered? I can say as a woman, this has happened so many times in my life where it's like you literally can't say anything with and like the "Rawr!" Like as a woman, so many times like I wasn't even upset and I would just say something and then people go "Rawr!" and I'm like, why are you doing that? I'm not being a catty woman though. But I swear to God, if a man said the same thing, he wouldn't have a rare reaction to it. It's like we're literally not allowed to say or do anything. That's what I was saying about work earlier. There's like men would throw fucking hissy fits. And it's like they would like throw stuff and break stuff and get mad all the time. We could, if we did that, it would be taken more seriously once again because women don't have outbursts like that. So I know there's exceptions, but like men have been socialized to like quell their emotions and bottle them up, which results my hair, this is so awful, which results in 90% of violent crimes. And I think we're all emotional beings. We all have emotions. We all feel emotions. Women are socialized to be more reactive, and that is not okay. Women are socialized often that it is okay, even cute, to be little histrionic creatures. But everybody in real life, everyday life, you quickly learn if you're, have two brain cells to rub together, that that's not cool, that's not cute, and it's no way to live. Most women, like, we do consume most of the self-help. We do work on ourselves and our mental health. And that's something that men, it should be normalized for men to do it too. Because somebody said earlier, nobody asks about men. It's because of this trope that men don't have emotions. It lends into that, being like, why? It's like a feminine thing to ask your friend how he's doing. I've seen men say that, and I know not all of you think that. And it's a thing that's more prevalent in our culture because I've said this before. I wish men could be more affectionate if they wanted to, because some women aren't like physically affectionate with their friends, but a lot of us are. And it's like it would be nice if men could show each other affection that might like help with the male loneliness that's going on right now, just like being close, physically close to somebody else in a platonic kind of way can be nice. And then people were saying like in Nepal, men do hold hands and stuff like that. Like there are other cultures where it is more normalized. And I would venture to say they're probably happier there too. Try working containers, maintenance, paint, refurbish 40 a day, at least 10 hours in sunlight work. I just prefer active days, go fast. I like that as opposed to sitting down each to his own. X, I totally hear you. Not really poop smear. I have dabbled in Wicca. I hear ya, X. I'm the same way. I would rather work a physical job and be on my feet personally. Oh, thank you, Vinny. DC, never. Jeff Herbert, tired of women blaming men for everything getting old. Oh, Jeff. I feel the same as a woman, so, I look at it as like we're all just trying to survive and we're all victims to the oligarchs. Just to be clear, when we're talking about subjects like this, it's easy to get into like men this and men that one, and we're talking about adult media and then this workplace shit. But like it's the elite people. Everybody is a victim to, and all of civilization is burning because of because of their greed and wanting to concentrate most wealth into a few people's pockets. The wealth disparity and the wage stagnation, that's the problems we really need to tackle, and we won't as long as we keep like fighting with each other. And I'm like interested in this once again as a mother of three sons, and like you guys, I'm not just saying this to butter you up, but there's a lot of men, they are proof that like there it's not all men. Like and when I talk about these things, the fact they're even interested in what I have to say proves like at least some men are totally misogynistic and think no woman should say anything and should literally just and there's men that are amazing chefs and cooks. My husband can cook really well. Like so for women to only be in the kitchen all the time, like I just couldn't imagine a world like that. I had my grandma's my grandma was like a CNA, her for years and years. She worked at a factory and then she was a CNA. She had 5 kids and she always had to work. And this was she had her first kid in the late 50s. She always had to work. I don't and I'm sure a lot of you come from families like that too. Most of us don't come from families where the mom could stay at home in the lap of luxury. It was like an advertisement thing. I know it was a lot more possible. People did have they could make their wages stretch, but this is it's just it's I'm not scared because I really don't think they're going to rescind women's rights. Let's be real. We need women so badly. We're not going to like say women shouldn't be able to vote, but it's just it's something as a woman, the dogs are in the way. Well, I think I'm going to go. Gay men talk about what all the time? Thank you, Pedro. Men build and maintain everything in this world. David, I'm going to keep saying it. Women literally birth everybody. Do you not see that as, like, a beautiful synergistic cycle, or would you just prefer to be with men? And, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand this, I think it's really, really cool when men build things. You can ask my husband. We lived off grid for a year almost, and I loved watching him chop wood. And I know I couldn't do that. I have 3 hernias, by the way. I would totally chop wood. I'm totally the kind of woman that would I hiked our whole property several times. He never did it. I was like, Fendi, Mr. Carey, that's why you gotta use bleach and scrub. Oh. What are we talking about? So to recap, life is peaceful when you learn to love yourself. I don't need nobody. I like scuba diving with my group than to marry and have kids. Gaming moments. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah. Are you saying you don't want to be married? Because I didn't make this little disclaimer, but I don't think everybody should be married either. Even though I talk a lot about marriage, I'm just talking about people on the same path. Like, I definitely think it's something that's been like I said in my Candace Owens live, okay, I think it's so weird that Candace Owens met her husband. 19 days later, he proposed to her on FaceTime with not one date. He said not one romantic thing had been said between the two of them before, in between the time he met her and then proposed to her 19 days later. That was so odd to me. Just think about the way that those people in those kinds of circles move compared to the rest of us. And hey, Pyramid, you, thanks. I just can't, like, it floors me. I think that I should make a video on this because I do believe in real love, of course. I still feel like a giddy high school girl when I look at my husband in the eyes. Like, I really do feel like, "Ooh," when I see him. I'm like, it's like being in high school and seeing somebody like in the hallway. And I've been married to him for 16 years in January. So I really do like chemistry matters. It matters so much. It really does. But, I also think there we've been thrown for a loop with the, like, romantic love and how it's been propagandized, and that's part of the problem, and it's part of the rift between men and women because we're both taught, like, different things, to expect. Oh, thank you, Acid Burns, a membership to Homer Dude. Love doesn't exist for most, Chris. Oh, Chris Dragata, that's so sad. You even think like when it comes to like children and pets, and I'm sorry, okay, I know I bring up like children and dogs a lot together. That does not mean I think they're the same thing. But as somebody who had lost a dog we raised from a puppy, I know like when they are like members of the family, they really sincerely are. How am I part of the problem, Tommy Guns? Uh, and thank you, Robbie. Hi, Ricardo, Daniel. So, anyways, Candace married a J. I don't know. Is he a J? I don't think he is, Chris. But you could be right. He is from a very wealthy family. For somebody like Candace who talks about like elite people, it's just super interesting. And where was I going with that? I talked about that earlier in a live. Thank you, Mr. Carey. We just live such different lives, and yeah, I think that there's a reason, there's a lot of distractions on purpose. Why did the rooster want to go to KFC? To see a chicken strip. Sauce. But like I said, Lydia, I agree with you on repealing the 19th 100. Well, that's never gonna happen. And, you know, it was male legislators that agreed to that. And it was male legislators that came up with the family court, which was more unfair for a long time, but now it's less so. I saw a guy the other day say, like, every state it's gonna go like full custody to the female. And like Kentucky is one of 7 states that's default 50-50 custody. Unless other arrangements are made, it's default 50-50 custody. And in my opinion, if like there really were, I know there's dads out there that really are alienated, okay? But I just don't think it's like I think so many people try to make it sound like they really want to be in their kids' lives and they don't. I had a dad that was like that. He wouldn't come around for and I'm not don't cry for me. I'm just saying like he didn't come around. We were better off for it. But then, you know, the way he would talk and talk in front of other people, my kids are my life, and it's like you see us for like 2 years straight. But, I think a lot of men, you know, play that game, but they're not genuine. And if they were, they would be making more efforts to make things. There's 7 states doing default 50-50 custody. Why aren't there fathers' rights groups in every single other state fighting to make that the same since now we've set precedent in Kentucky? Kentucky set precedent for that literally too. We were the first state. So anytime somebody like I just had a disparaging remark about Kentucky not too long ago, or somebody was talking about paying $1,800 a month for like a 1 bedroom. And I was like, and he was making a point to like go into detail about the cost and everything. I was like, you could get a mansion on 50 acres here in Kentucky for $1,800 a month. And then somebody replied back to me, I was like, yeah, but who would want to live in Kentucky, the state where the constituents think they should vote for New York City mayor or something? I don't even know what they were talking about. I'm sure it was some, I couldn't imagine thinking everybody in one state is like the same and thinking just because we're known as like, once again, we're not technically the South, but what are we? What is Kentucky if it's not the beginning of it's not the Midwest. It's not the East? Anyways, controlled op, I was thinking with Candace, it's like giving the illusion things are getting done by showing or doing that. Also, it's like a form of consent because they say it was I told you, it was told to you. Yes, X, she is a hearsay queen. And I said that in a live earlier today that I think she's a controlled op. And I have said it before, but like I'm like officially like the way you guys are crazy. You're crazy. It's Candace. Candace, everybody else that doesn't support you thinks you're crazy. You know that too. Now you're gonna turn around and do that same, like, you're a crazy tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. To other people, like, no, my dad is an alien. Mr. Taco, are you RH negative? Love is an action word if you're a real father. Risk, I love that. And that could be said about any love, right? But especially a parent, right? Because yeah, she says a lot for someone somewhat mainstream, but all will come to light. Maybe she isn't under the control. So I also feel like this, and I am gonna go soon. I the way that she's talked about like anti VACCINE stuff, uh I feel like sometimes people are so out there with it. Like she had this short, she posted this on her channel, and I know you could say it's taken out of context, but like her own team created this shorts where she's reacting to a clip of Andrew Tate saying how like all statistics, all data is bullshit, basically. And I do understand where they're probably coming from, but I don't think she did a good job relaying how, like, yes, pharmaceutical industries, absolutely, they cherry pick data. They will run the same test 100 times and pick the 5 times it turned out in their favor, even if the other 95 times it didn't, allegedly, supposedly, even for really important medicines. You'd be kind of surprised how there's like you just assume like the government, some third party company is like it's like the pharmaceutical companies making the drugs are also running all the tests, and then it's like and some of these things are unethical to test in certain populations, yada yada. So yeah, I just think that she's not a great example, and it sucks because I think there's better examples, and I appreciate her, Kat Von D, anybody that has the balls to come out and say, but I just think that she could do a better job, and her going on and on about the Macrons. There is a cost of living crisis. She doesn't care. Have you ever seen Candace Owens bring up anything about like the homelessness crisis? How they're trying to make it like illegal in a lot of jurisdictions to live in a van or an RV. They're like doing whatever they can to make it more difficult for people instead of actually helping with what could make everybody's lives better. Okay. I'm a black guy, probably freaking you out. Gotta go as I block your channel. Oh, fearless. I hope you don't think you're freaking me out because you're a black guy. I'm from Louisville. Um, so cost of living, get your money up. It's that easy. It's not that easy though. No, it's not, Joe Bummy. Somebody has to do the jobs where the wages have stagnated for 40 years now, like somebody has to do those jobs. I couldn't imagine just thinking, oh, well, they can just get another job when it's like services I'm sure you use every single day. And he's barely black. High school kids do those jobs. See, and 40 years ago, anybody could do any full-time job and make enough to earn a decent living. That's what we need to go back to. high school kids do those jobs. It's not possible for just high school kids to do all the jobs I'm talking about. Even a manager of a restaurant. When I was younger, I waitressed a lot, and restaurant managers, they work a lot of hours too. They made like the same amount they still make. When I saw ads for them, I'm like, didn't they make like 40, 50,000 like fucking 20 years ago? This shit is crazy and it affects us all, even if you think that it's that the attitude that people have, it's like when you say things like they don't have to do it and stuff like that, it's just like you're brainwashed by the same propaganda, and that's part of why it's perpetuated because people gloss over their fellow Americans working jobs with stagnated wages. Like, well, they could just get something else. And especially the classism is a big issue. Once you start, even if you come from nothing, like Jaclyn Hill, she's this big YouTuber, makeup beauty guru who recently made content on how she didn't know why people weren't watching her after she made a video about putting caviar on McDonald's chicken nuggets. You can't make this shit up. That's why, uh, you know, people don't want to watch her shit anymore. No more jobs unless you're selling pretzels. And some people really do need health insurance so badly that they get jobs with certain companies, but for the benefits. And there's no like little better jobs, like the better paying jobs don't have full-time benefits or they're independent contractors. There's so many reasons why somebody might take a lower paying job. And I agree, Kenny Powers, finally, a good compliment. Southern chicks are the best, Joseph Blair said. Oh, who do you think is a honeypot, Joseph? I think Erica Kirk might have been, and it's refreshing because it's been a while since like most of us have like you still feel like you can't really say much about it or it's inappropriate, but she is E. Clark YouTube. How are you doing? Chat, this woman on the stream keeps looking at me and talking about me, jobs, and pretzels. She's hitting on me for insurance is as important as pay. Yes, Matt. I just had a hysterectomy, and when they took my stuff out, I was literally at the grade right before official cancer. This is cervical cancer. And I had been to four doctors before this doctor asking for a hysterectomy because it was 10 years of dealing with this. Lots of biopsies, literally, I forget, I lost count, 4 or 5 rounds of biopsies. Look up cervical biopsy tool and tell me if that isn't some medieval torture device shit. And I'm not saying that women should get it done. Absolutely. If somebody is saying that you should get one done, it's better to not get cervical cancer. But it is just brutal what we go through. It's like vivisection. And they do the same thing to males with prostate biopsies, apparently. Absolutely no pain management. No pain management. We're gonna like to take this hole punch. It's like this long, it looks like scissors and it's like really long, and then it's like this hole punch thing at the end. It is brutal, especially when you've had one in the same spot a few times. It like one time the lady was like having a hard time doing it because of the scar tissue. It fucking hurt so bad. I was like screaming. I'm not kidding. I was screaming. Two people had to hold both of my hands. It's crazy the shit that we go through. And even like, and then you're just, there's no nerves in the cervix. So that's when I got the good insurance through my work. I feel like that's when the doctor is like, it was the insurance. I had really good Anthem insurance, and she, within 5 minutes, didn't even see my medical history, was like, yeah, I'll give you a hysterectomy. I'd give you a hysterectomy for any one of your issues, let alone all of them, because I'd have more issues than that. So, yeah, anybody would scream during that. But there's still this misinformation. She said it to me the last time I was there, something about no nerves in the cervix. I'm like, I wanted to scream at her. There are absolutely nerves in the fucking cervix. It's like saying that like black people don't feel pain. It's just crazy. Or some women do have nerves, but most women don't have nerves. That's crazy. And there are women that are like, I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, glad for them. But I don't think that that means that there's never nerve. Anyways, um, I appreciate all of you guys. Hey, Lydia, you want to see something gorgeous? Go look in the mirror. Acid burn. Stop. You all really help. All the comments about my crooked yellow teeth. Hold on, let me do something right now. I just want to see if I turn it back on like the see that it see I have the bright white now. It they are still a little yellow. But they're not as bad. See what I mean? It's that bright white. I can't take the like, bright white LED lights. So I make it see what I mean? White. Ooh. Probably a good in between would be a good median. But yeah, um, X, it's essentially the people policing themselves because it's just people in police and military that uphold the government, so they don't do a great job in their perspective of following their plan to where it is. Um, Swass. Ryan. Research into women's healthcare is put on the back burner. A lot of doctors are running around with an education that's 20 years behind too. Yes, calcification. Calcification. They make shoes for men's feet. There are a few brands that do make shoes for actual women's feet, but did you know most shoes are made according to male anatomy? The vast majority of shoes out there are according to male anatomy. Most crash test dummies, most CPR, all crash test dummies. What am I saying? All CPR dummies, or some CPR dummies actually have boobs. Most CPR dummies don't have boobs. Crash test dummies are all male anatomy. So medications usually tested on men. So when people say it's a gynocentric universe, I'm like, how can anybody think this is a gynocentric universe? You mean it's a sex obsessed universe? It's a porn obsessed. I'm sorry, it's a naked lady obsessed universe. You mean? Because once you use your boobs for nursing a baby, people get in an uproar about it. You have to fight for your right to do that. But anyways, we're weird here in America. We're like still Puritan in a certain and then we're like completely crude and not. So I don't feel like it's so much like that everywhere. I know it's not like that everywhere. My friend from the UK that I worked with, this old man, he told me about how, he grew up with the girls going topless on the beach and um sounded like a fun time. Just to be able to be that open with your bodies and, like, accepting, I think it might even be a healthy thing to, like, not sexualize. I bet over there they weren't like, "Oh, what are you doing nursing that baby?" when they had their babies too. I am the yours of going to the bird, don't let her be hating someone. Okay, Trillis. Do you know people actually taking them off paint and paint their teeth? Oh my gosh. It could always be worse, Lydia. You could be British. Oh, Fendi. Yeah, somebody asked me earlier if I was Italian, and I didn't really. I just thought of it and like, I am a quarter Swiss, and Switzerland is right by Italy, and I never think about that. I never think about the Italy side because my family was from the German side. I would like to help. I think we should talk. Do you have an email? Kenny, I do have an email. It's in the description of my channel. Little Kentucky at proton.me, I believe that's it, but you might want to check just to make sure. I am not a doctor and I'm not giving medical advice. I've just been through a lot medically, a lot with my teeth, a lot with other stuff. X, like if you compare the way to these occult masters' minds work to achieve these results of manipulation, etc., to the truth movement, it's a worlds apart. It's worlds apart. That's interesting, X. Because sometimes I think that like they're the elites, oligarch, and I am like speaking, I don't think anything, I don't think this for certain, but it's they use rituals. Like a lot of times I feel like they're just like playing in front of our faces with like rituals. And that's part of it is especially like humiliation rituals in like deception, like they like deceiving people. It doesn't make sense any other way. You know what I mean? Like the third building that fell during 911, there's like we could go on and on. We're clearly living in I didn't think we'd be living in times like this. I know there's always been things like that happening. I shouldn't say unprecedented, but like mm, I wear a size 13A, acid burn said. More importantly, do you have a Venmo? Yes, I do, Daniel Fiore. Thank you, Mr. Carey. Do you think Nicole Kessinger helped Chris Watts? Oh my gosh, Stone Papa Smurf. I'm never going to get off of here. Yeah, I do. In my opinion, I absolutely do. There's so much evidence. I follow that case closely, and I have videos on my channel from 5, 6 years ago where that Thrive stuff, the patches Chris Watts was putting on himself, they worked like an MAOI in the brain. The way that they burned fat, they literally, this ingredient called forskolin that was patented in India. You guys should, like, if you're interested in that at all, I think that and I'm not saying that as an excuse, I think he should rot. I don't think that he should be let off easy. I think people should know he was like doubling up and he was using like the extra strength patches and then like doubling up on those. And it was like he changed. Or was he always? And I think, bless her heart, she didn't deserve it. I think he was an example of an emasculated man, but that does not mean that especially those little girls. Like, there's no excuse for that. But there's so much about that case that interested me, and, I think Shanann was a good woman deep down inside, but, like, it was just an example of, like, social media and, like, keeping up the Joneses type stuff, how that can destroy a family. Hey, Jay Hardy, how are you? Hi, Ralph Alpha. Fendi, yeah, they are. They're telling us what they're gonna do to us, so it's a ritual. Yes, Fendi, I totally believe that. But, yeah, in the true crime stuff, I also sometimes I'm into it too, but I also wonder if it's, like, put up there as a distraction somehow or something, or that's part of manipulating our minds and energy, with so much negativity. Like, we as people, we're not built to handle so much negative shit, and just like the adult media, we're not made to watch people be intimate with each other, all these different people in all these different ways. Never before in humankind was that even possible. And I think that about true crime. Imagine pulling off an insurance scam and it's done so badly they think it's some kind of ritual, Daniel. I don't know exactly what incident you're talking about. Are you talking about 911? How did Shanann Watts get the money to buy her first house? Well, she was married to an attorney, right? Didn't she get like divorced from her first attorney husband? And, I'm sure you know this Stone Papa Smurf. There was some talk that she might have gotten in trouble for maybe allegedly taking some money from someplace she worked, like a car dealership. But that was never, verified. People love to talk shit about a beautiful woman like Shanann, you know what I mean? She was such a like naturally beautiful woman, and I just think it's like a shame. And for what? So he can sit in prison the rest of his life? In my opinion, we cannot escape slavery unless we stop putting it upon other beings. It's a hermetic principle. They know this. That's why in turn we farmed, because we do it to animals as above, so below. Oh, X, that is so deep. Hi, Paul. How are you? Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. It's an unfortunate truth that's like it's probably or always existed and always will. But now with the ability to communicate that we have, all the information at our fingertips, there's a hair on me. We should be trying to help as much as possible. And it doesn't matter to me, but just so you guys know, the live streams don't pay like the edited videos, and I'm not complaining. I have fun talking to you guys, but just so you are aware, like I would love to make as much money live streaming as the edited videos. I would. I'm gonna upload a video about skincare. I'm gonna try to get in that algorithm, so if some of you guys are like, what the fuck is she talking about? Sorry. I'm still gonna do lives, but I've got to make videos about more like general stuff. It's gonna be really cheap skincare. I was thinking about calling it like hillbilly. Hi, Vimy. Thank you for sending that. Good evening. Feeling unsafe. Pause, breathe, type safe below to invoke a quick protective anchor. Oh, Keith. Is it you, Keith? Is it the Keith? I think it is. How are you? Hi from Los Angeles, Martin said. Vimy, pick and choose what we aren't meant to experience. I'm sorry. I'm not skipping your comments unintentionally. I was skipping all of them. Okay, here we go. All of it is stupid. Sorry about that, Vimy. Well, you guys, I really do gotta go. Gotta go pay some attention to my husband. I don't know how far I am from Ashland. I'm like pretty much in the center of Kentucky. So however far away you are from that, like in between Louisville and Lexington. And I can't wait. This coming week, I have so much fun Christmas shit. I'm sorry I waited for all for like the week before Christmas, but I'm going to show you guys some really, really cute Kentucky towns. There's a few towns around here that go all out. I mean, they put Christmas lights all over all the trees. Thank you, Vimy. And it is just especially cute and quaint. It's like a Hallmark movie. And I'm going to some really cool events. You'll see. How close are you to the Ferris wheel? Okay. It's the only one it's the one and only neuro wizard, my purple eye bothered people. Well, I hope you're doing well, Keith. I need to go. I love you all, and I appreciate you, hanging out with me for so long, and, yeah, I think everybody that watches, especially all the way to the end, understands. Bardstown was voted the most Christmas city in Kentucky. Yeah, that I am going to Bardstown for something. I don't know when, but, yeah, it's not really an event, it's just, like, the town of Bardstown is very Christmassy. Orb, I am mostly English, Irish, and a quarter Swiss and a quarter Colombian. So you're a typical American. It was so funny. Somebody in my chat the other night said, "How do you feel about your people dying out?" I thought that was hilarious. Got 40 viewers on my Defense Against the Dark Art Strategies webinar today. Keith, I'm not sure if I've subscribed to you or not. Like whenever you've left me a comment, I've forgotten to click on your page and subscribe to you. I'm sorry. I want to subscribe to you. Good for you. Colombiana Swiss cheese. Somebody, when I told them that, they were like, "That is so funny. You mean you're like on time and late?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "How Swiss make clocks, and then like Hispanic people are all known to be late." I was like, "Yeah, that is kind of funny." Hi, James. It's like someone wound you up as soon as I entered the room, pickers and choosers. Well, V me, I don't know what's going on, but thank you. I did read some of your comments. Let me see if I missed some really intriguing. Okay, so what, we aren't meant to drive in cars and pollute and wear clothes made from exploited little kids in Bangladesh. Yeah, I agree with you. That was the only comment I saw that wasn't like just saying, okay, move on, whatever. Need to hear more about your Kessinger theory. Okay, since you asked. She is a witch, in my opinion, allegedly. I think she might have even, and this is not to take any accountability off Chris Watts. He was talking about her giving him a drink. I think that she might have like been performing rituals, telling him. She said she wanted to have his first son. So, in my opinion, I think she might have even been there that night because she called him and was on the phone for hours. There's like this hours long phone call the night Shanann came home when he unalived her. And in my opinion, I think Nicole might have done that and left her phone on at home to make it look like she was at home, went to the house, waited for Shanann. She was late because her plane was late. Then it makes more sense how the story changed. Is so horrible. I think that he would totally cover for her the way he was about her. And this is also a lesson to be learned. It is so horrific. I couldn't imagine my husband unaliving all of us for like some girl like that, and she totally used her feminine guile. He definitely did. I'm sorry, adult audiences only. They did anal a lot, and it's like I'm under the impression that's something maybe Shanann didn't do. So this is something. It's like it's important to have these like get to know the person you're with. Get to know if there's like something they like sincerely desire that you're. It's just good to know these things. Like and then when men like him once again don't put up any boundaries. Like that is the number one deficit of good men, truly good men, that's part of what makes them good. They feel like they always have to put up with so much shit that they're not putting up boundaries like women do, like we're taught to, that like it's healthy. Anyways, I think Kessinger has BPD. Oh, Stone Papa Smurf. Yeah, I'm not an expert in personality disorders. Thank you, Mr. Carey. But yeah. I think she, has a past. She got arrested when she was younger, and I forget exactly what it was some silly, we all do stupid shit when we're like 18, right? But I do think that she, in my opinion, always had a thing for married men. She's one of those. That's what it's so scary. The Jezebel spirit is like real. And the Bible warns about women like Kessinger. Oh, I didn't see you say that. Yes, definitely. And all men should be wary of like women that will use their bodies. And let's be real, how many women do that? Thank you, Mr. Carey. How many women do that? And like do all the things he wants and like is an acrobat in bed. And then they get with him and it's just like so many other instances where like it all fizzles out because that woman was using that. So like as a man, it must suck. And you feel like how do you have the discernment if somebody is like really good at acting? Okay. Women genuinely scare me. I'm sorry, Master Cheerio. Well, I hope you all have a good night. I really do need to go. Protector's job is never done. Yes, and yes. I love you all. It was fun talking to you. And I'm hoping to reach 3,000 by the end of the week. But I'm going to have to be at like 3,020 before I really celebrate it. You know what I mean? Bye, Butterfly. Bye, Dee. Bye, Master in America. Oh, I love you guys.